Listen, we have not even touched coronavirus yet.
And I don't want to touch it either.
Yeah, that's a topic. When we left Zurich, by the time we landed in Miami, I was still on the plane. And I turned on my phone, I started looking at the news, and the first thing I saw was 2 cases of coronavirus found in Zurich.
Right, and we had just left Zurich.
Yes, 9 hours earlier. And so while we were in flight, Swiss officials found the first 2 cases in the city that we were in, Zurich, Switzerland.
Right.
This thing's moving fast. I got a lot of things I want to talk to you about it. Do not ignore this, and do not dismiss it. And don't get into crazy, whacked out theories that people are saying about this. This is real. All right, it's real. How it got turned loose, we don't know, and it doesn't matter, does it? It's loose.
Right.
Okay, that's what you need to know. And it's moving fast. And if extreme, draconian measures are not taken by governments within weeks.
These are experts saying this.
Yes. This is going to be a global pandemic, and hundreds of millions of people could die.
Worse than the Spanish influenza.
Yes. It's the infection rate is already double the infection rate of the Spanish flu at its peak.
And the one thing that really alarms me about this particular virus, Rick, is that you can be contagious without even having symptoms. Think about that. You could be walking around for a week, infecting family members, friends, everybody around you.
Heads of state, even if you were to attend.
Not even know it until you started, getting sick later.
The average person who has the virus is infecting 14 people.
14 people, yes. And we've seen that number repeated multiple times.
Okay, so they're saying right now, just in the city of Wuhan, they're saying there are 90,000 people infected. Now multiply that by 14.
Yeah, when people...
A week or two from now, Doc, that number, 14 times 90,000, that's what we're going to be hearing in about 2 weeks.
And a couple things about Wuhan, real quick, Rick. When people think, well, that's a Chinese city, this is a city of 11 million people. Now, a lot of Americans can't even comprehend that. And this is a city of 11 million people. New York City, in the tri-state area, has a total population maybe pushing 9. So this is a city bigger than New York. But get this, and you recall this article from the other day, Rick, that it was reported that 5 million people left Wuhan
before martial law was imposed.
Yes, 5 million people left. They've gone different places throughout China and around the world.
Including a team from CNN who came back to America.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's not us just throwing some pie in the sky number at you or anything like that. Reuters reported that 5 million number.
Right, so half the city fled before martial law was imposed. Whether you want to call it martial law or not, it's martial law. Wuhan is now under martial law.
Right.
See, this is what you understand. Once it starts moving in a city, that city's, if it's here in the United States or China, they're going to declare martial law in those cities.
All right,
everybody's going to be locked down. Nobody leaves, nobody enters. So half the city fled when word got out that China was going to impose martial law. So 5 million people hoofed it out of the city. Now, if 1% of the 5 million is infected, that's 50,000 people, who don't know that they're infected.
And
for
maybe
for the next 10 days.
Yes.
But they are in each of the 50,000 is infecting 14 people. Now do the math. Do that math and tell me where we're at 2 weeks from now.
It's above 500 to 700,000 people you're speaking about here.
And there's right now 16 cities in China that are locked down with populations of 4 million or more. 16 cities, Rick. I mean, we can't comprehend that here in the U.S. because we're a population of 300 million. They got 1.5 billion people in China. And so you've got 16 cities of 4 million or more locked down with this disease. Do you think we're getting the whole numbers yet?
No, not at all. Chinese government's terrified of this. They suspended trading in the Shanghai stock market
all
today.
the way up to February 3rd.
Yes.
I mean,
Because they don't want the traders coming together. Think about it. These are your business leaders coming in, and they don't want them coming into the stock market trading, and they're sick.
well, two reasons. They don't want them cashing out financially, and they don't want them cashing out physically either.
Yes, that's right. Do we have the video from Davos?
Yes, we do, actually.
I'm going to show you one video from Davos. The CEO of Huawei.
Ren Zhengfei.
So he was on stage in a session speaking.
With Yuval Harari, of all people.
Yes. So I wasn't there. Who attended? You?
I watched the stream online.
Okay. So the Chinese CEO of Huawei had a very serious cough throughout that session in Davos. Now, this is at the beginning of the week.
Right.
And the coronavirus was not really a hot news story on Monday.
Right.
Last Monday. Watch this. This is from Davos last week, where we were at. This is the Chinese CEO from Huawei.
How we make sure we get the best out of it. So I'm going to start, Professor.
我读个赫拉尼的人们内心没有恐慌，尽管摩尔定律还带来，就是赫拉尼先生说。
To end with an upbeat note. Yes, gentlemen here. Very briefly.
Yeah. Look, I hope and pray that the man doesn't have coronavirus.
Right.
But if he does, that room was full of CEOs of the biggest corporations in America.
Billionaires.
And we don't know where he went that whole week in
Right.
Davos, how many meetings he attended. If he is a coronavirus carrier, he just infected Davos. Think about that. World leaders, CEOs, billionaires, anybody that met with him.
Journalists.
If he's carrying the coronavirus. So if you were in a room with the CEO of Huawei at Davos, you should get yourself checked. Of course, the incubation period, you can go 10 days with
10 to 14 days.
with
yeah.
no symptoms.
Yes.
And then one of the men was sitting right to his left, right here, that Yuval Harari. He spoke from the main stage and a packed out room. So everyone else who came to that speech, if Yuval Harari was exposed to it by being in proximity to the CEO of Huawei, you have the top leaders of the world now potential vectors of the coronavirus.
I have a feeling there won't be a Davos next year. I think this is a real plague.
Should we show the video of the victim of coronavirus suffering in the hospital?
Yeah, this is a video from Wuhan Hospital in China. This is scary. This is we don't know if it's a man or woman on the gurney. And that, you'll just see it. It's very, very troubling. If you're joking about coronavirus or just blowing this off, saying no big deal, it's fake. Look, you watch this video. Okay, this is a plague that's coming upon the planet that could take out hundreds of billions of people in 1 to 2 years. Watch this video.
Can you imagine being one of the individuals waiting to see a doctor, looking over and seeing a victim convulsing uncontrollably?
Oh, no.
No one's there to help him.
There's there's a woman standing there holding the person. I don't know if it's a relative or whatever, but imagine it's your wife.